Hello, and thank you for joining. I think it's day 4 of the challenge. So I hope you're staying focused and pressing forward. Even if you don't do everything perfectly, remember the goal is not perfection, but it is progression. Okay? And so today's lesson, we're going to talk about routines. And for most of you, you may think already, like, well, I already have a routine. I don't need to listen to this class. So that's fine, but I ask that you still listen because you may pick up some additional tips or hacks or things that you just may not have known about managing your day and how to have a productive routine. So, in your homework, I did mention and provide some tips and suggestions for routines. Those are fine. Today, we're going to go a little bit deeper with developing a routine. One of the reasons why I believe routines are so important is because we are technically managing energy. So, the more routines you have set up in your life, the less energy you have to put out to think about what should I do next. So, be sure to think of it like that. We are technically managing energy. One of my favorite books, I haven't read it in a while, but I read it a few years ago and it really made a really big impact on how I manage my time. And this is The Power of Full Engagement. I believe I heard about this book through Oprah Winfrey, and she used this as a way of how she managed her time and her energy. And that's the thing, you're not really managing time, you're really managing your energy. So, one of the first tips I'm going to share today with developing a routine, if I can find my notes, is to know your energy. Know your energy levels. Know if you are a morning person or an evening person. Know when when it's harder for you to do certain tasks. Know what gets you excited and what helps your energy, and know especially what drains your energy. So once you know that, I am so sorry. I am recording this and I cannot find my notes for my class. I thought I had them in front of me. Um, for example, I know that I do not like dealing with money, finances, anything like that. That's just one of my things that here we go, that I know I need to get better with. But I'm honest with myself and I know this is something that depletes me, that drains my energy. So, therefore, when I have to deal with invoices, when I have to follow up with a client, when I have to even deal with my own personal finances, I tend to do it earlier in the day because, as you would learn in the book, and if you even read some things on the side about energy levels, our self control and our ability to make hard decisions is greater in the morning. And as our energy depletes throughout the day, and just as we naturally get tired and our guards come down, it's harder to focus and it's harder to make critical decisions. So if you have critical decisions, if you have those hard things that you know you have to take care of, as much as possible, try to do them earlier in the day. And that's also providing that your energy levels are better or higher earlier in the day. For most people it is, but you may be different, and maybe you just get bursts of energy in the afternoon or in the evening. Which, if that's the case, then yes, save your harder tasks, the things that are harder for you to focus on in the afternoon or the evening, whenever your energy is highest. Maybe you're not a creative person and you know with your business, whether it's social media or things like that, you know you don't like doing it, and it's going to require a lot more energy. Whenever that is for you, whenever that energy time is for you, do those hard tasks, specifically when it comes to your business. But of course, this can apply to anything. Working out, if exercise is not a big thing for you, and you don't really like doing it, do it at a time when you know your self control is at its highest, where you're going to make the best decisions. So, know your energy. That is one of the first steps in developing a routine. The second thing, and I've spoken about this and I think in maybe 2 videos already, and I'll probably continue to talk about this, is you have to know your goals. So you have to know what is important to you, what your end goals are with your business, in your personal life, in your relationships, in your family life, whatever it is. Know what you're aiming for, what you're going for. Because if you know those things, it's going to be easier to incorporate those type of things into your routine. As I mentioned before, for example, I'm trying to lose weight, I'm trying to get healthier, do all those type of things. So putting working out as part of a normal routine for me is really important. And then when I know my energy levels, I know when to fit it into my day. So I hope that is making sense to you. Always start with knowing what your goals are, because once you know what those are, it's easier to plan your schedules and your routines. As it relates to work, same thing applies to your business. Know what your goals are for your business and make sure you make whatever steps needs to be taken to reach those goals part of a routine. Have routine times that you work on your business. Again, when we talked about calendar blocking, we know that things come up, schedules change, but if you have a block of time set aside, even if you're 15 minutes off or 30 minutes off, I don't care if sometimes you only get 5 minutes to work on your business that day. Have a block of time, a routine set in that you are going to work on your business. It's just, again, not perfection, but progression. Let's see. The third thing with establishing a routine is that I think I'm going to switch one of my numbers, but have an evening routine. A lot of times we think about routines only being in the morning. We think about, oh, I'll work out, I'll pray, I'll check my emails, I'll do all these things. That's great. But you have to have an evening routine if you are, again, an entrepreneur, a workpreneur, if you're just trying to make big improvements in your life. Evening routines are critical. So there's no way I could be successful in my job or in my side business without having evening routines. So, or in my health, because I never go to bed without having my workout clothes laid out. I think I mentioned that in a previous email. So that is a routine for me. On Sundays, I try as much as possible to do meal prep because I know I love to eat and I'm trying to manage my finances. So it's helpful for me to meal prep at least for some of the days of the week and for my lunches on Sundays. And also going into routines, it could be something that not necessarily applies every day, but it could be a monthly thing or a weekly thing if your beauty is important to you and you have to get your nails done a couple times a month. Make that part of your routine. I think I have a friend who massages are very important to her. That is part of her routine. She schedules that into her monthly self-care. um, so hair, all those type of things that are important to you and helping you move the needle in your life, make sure you have routines for those. On the second Monday of the month, I will do this. But going back to my Sundays, Sundays are very personal and important to me. So on Sundays, I try not to do any client calls or anything like that. And I try not to be around anyone who's going to drain any type of bad energy from me or I'm going to have to work too hard to engage with. Sundays, I'm religious about going to church. I do my meal preps. I have longer workouts where it's just me really just getting into my workout, having a good time. I'll sit in the sauna. I try to make that a day of self care for me and still getting work in that's pleasurable for me. But that's really important to have those routines, whether it's a day or a time, into your life. So it's easier to say no to things when you have routines and a schedule. So I know that there are certain times when my clients will want to meet with me on Sundays or have a conference call with me on Sundays or something, and it's easier now for me to say no because I have promised myself that Sundays will be a day for me. Now, once in a while, I'll break that rule, but it's because I chose to do it and not necessarily because someone else was dictating my schedule. So I hope that makes sense. My next point, and I sort of made this in my last point, it's a good segue, is that you have to schedule and make downtime part of your routines. Or else this won't be fun and you'll feel like a robot and you'll end up hating your calendar and hating your routines. So make sure you have downtime scheduled into your life, into your calendar. So I unfortunately I sometimes like reality television. Not sometimes, I do. I like reality TV, depending on what it is. So there are certain shows that I like, and that is part of my routine. They're on Wednesday nights at this time. I'm not I'm not doing anything, but that's going to be my time where I'm going to do that. Now, I'm going to have a class on multitasking, and I tend to multitask when I am, watching mindless television. I'll find other activities that I can incorporate, so that way it doesn't feel like it was a complete waste of time for me. But again, putting downtime into your daily and monthly routines is very important. A good example again is my Sundays. I have a routine. I have specific things that I like to do on Sundays, and I don't let other people crowd that out. Let's see. The next thing is, oh, I think I was talking, I don't think I fleshed out the evening routine concept. So, again, because that's really important, evening routines are really important. You have to think about what is going to make my tomorrow easier. So, for me, my workout clothes are out because I know a goal of mine is to lose weight. So, again, I'm setting up routines that are going to help my ultimate goals. Um, I actually, I mean, it's crazy that I am in marketing and branding, but I am truly an introvert. I'm more of an introvert than people think that I am. I really don't like talking on the phone a lot. And emails sometimes stress me out. I think because on my 9 to 5 job, I get emails constantly. So I have to tell myself, Lee, before you go to bed or sometime in the evening, you need to check your emails for your day job because we work in different time zones. We are an international firm. So I have to see what's happening so I won't get stressed out the next morning when I go into work. So in the evenings, I just glance at my emails because that helps calm me and helps me be proactive for the next day. So that's one of my routines. Um, I have a quiet time for me because I need, again, that to calm me down. It is part of my time when I do affirmations and really think through things and just calm myself. So that is an evening routine that I do for 15 minutes every night. I have a separate space where I do that. All my Bible, my journal, everything is in that space because, again, that's important to me and it is part of my routine. On certain days of the week, we're going to have a class on social media as well. I set up a lot of my posts and I brainstorm and get a lot of my content out. So I have a certain time of the week that I will work on those things. So again, those are just examples of how you can set up routines in your life that help support your goals and move you closer to where you want to be in your business. And those, a lot of what I just mentioned are evening routines. So what can you do in the evening to make your life easier? Even something as simple as I will get my water ready for the next morning. I like to have lemon water and mint in my water. I have a certain jug that I put that in. Before I go to bed, I put that in um, the refrigerator. So when I put on my gym clothes and I run downstairs, I grab that water and I'm in my car. Okay. So think about how you can make your life easier. You don't have to think as much. Your energy is higher because you're not second guessing and thinking about things. And again, not every day is going to be perfect. It's not always going to work just like you thought it was going to work. But again, not perfection, but progression. Let's see. So never waste an evening. I think this is my last point. Oh no, I have two more points. Gather information. So again, a lot of productivity experts will talk against having to-do lists. I personally love to-do lists because I have so much going on in my head, and for me, a to-do list is a brain dump. So we talked about in the class with calendar blocking that your to-do list should help you block your calendars. Again, the same thing with your routines. And when I say that you have a routine, you can edit your routine every week as necessary. There are certain things I think you should have just all the time. But every week it's okay to look at your routine for the week and where do you need to change. Your kids may have a special program in that morning, so you're not going to be able to do your workout. You're going to have to move things around. So life happens, right? But to-do lists, if you do those every week, Sunday nights or Monday mornings, start dumping out everything that's going on in your head and what you need to incorporate into your routine for that week. Okay, so make sure you do that. And the last point is, and this is something that actually I still struggle with and I want to improve, but it's so critical, is to leave margin. I would find myself getting so worked up and annoyed when people would be late or, um, someone at the store was moving too slow, or even if traffic was bad. I mean, I would just blow up, or internally, I would be so angry with people. But I realized part of it was because I wasn't leaving enough margin in my life. I was not leaving enough room for hiccups and mistakes and things being off. Things were too regimented. So make sure you incorporate flexibility into your routine. For example, again, my Sunday, I decided to meet a friend and have coffee. And that friend was late and it kind of threw my schedule off a bit, but I had already worked in margin. I didn't overbook myself, which I would sometimes do. And then I would get upset when something would happen and mess up that schedule. So I wasn't as annoyed because I said it's okay because I set aside enough time for margin, for error, for something to go wrong, to have time with this friend. And then I could still jump back onto my schedule at the time that I needed to. So make sure you work margin into your routines. Don't make it so regimented that it stresses you out, because routines are supposed to offer relief and a sense of comfort and less stress, less energy that you're exerting. And if you make it too regimented with no margins and no flexibility, it will stress you out even more. So, those are a few things that I wanted to share about routines. Again, make sure you have both a morning routine and an evening routine. Think about what your goals are. And again, I know we're specifically talking about business. You should never have a routine that does not incorporate your business in some way. So, for example, I have certain days, I pretty much every day, but I'm trying to sometimes work some fun hip hop music into my morning listening when I'm at the gym doing cardio. But there's not a day that goes by where I am not listening to a podcast or an audio book. That is part of my routine. So I consider that as part of my business development. So when I say I'm listening to a book, it's not just, you know, some love story or romance. It's books that help, or podcasts that help build my brand, my marketing, sharpen my skills. So again, that can be part of your routine. So my point again, never have a routine that does not incorporate your business or your business development. Because that's the whole point, is we are trying to grow and make more time for our business. And I guarantee you, when you do things like this, when you set up routines and when you make sure you're incorporating times to develop your business within these routines, you will get more ideas, you will have more content for what you're trying to put out, whether it's through social media or newsletters or phone calls. It will just come to you because, again, you've used that energy that it would have taken, like, oh, when am I going to do this, or I have to do this. You've used that energy and reserved it, and now you can use it for creative thinking or building your business. So I hope that makes some sense. I did, again, some of the suggestions I put in your homework. Review your to-do list. We talked about that. Evenings are a great time to do that. Your calendars and your to-do list. Know your goals, not just for the year, but you have to know your goals for the month, for the week, sometimes even for the day. Wake up earlier than anyone else. That is really, really important. And I hope that you all can do that, because even if it's 10 or 15 minutes, you will feel like you've gotten a jump on the world. Okay. So if you're just the first one up in your house, it is really, really helpful. Make sure you get some inspiration every single day, because we need it. Life is hard running a business and doing your 9 to 5. If that is your situation, it's really hard. So make sure you're getting some inspiration from somewhere, getting your energy flowing, and journaling. Let's see, I'm not at my home office, so I have wanted to show you all. I might do a follow-up video on this as well. I've kept a journal since I was 18 years old. So I have probably 50 or 60 journals, and I have them all still in my house. And I was just going to show you that, how um, the power of journaling, that there's so many benefits to journaling. And it may be journaling your personal thoughts, and it may be journaling just about your business, but whatever it is, writing and getting it out is so, so important. So incorporate that into your routine as well. All right, so that is it for the day. Again, please establish those routines, and I'd love to hear about them. We will have a time during hopefully an online class before the challenge is over, and I'd love to hear about some routines or some things that you may have incorporated into your life. All right, you all have an amazing day and productive day, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you.